Okay.
We're back to Total Education Celebrity Show on the Total Education Network, powered by the Beach Lifestyle Celebrity segment. Again, TotalTutor.net for more information. Twitter, Total Tutor, Neil S. Haley, Facebook. And I'm going to get in trouble with my Pittsburgh audience because anyone who's a former Cleveland Brown, we're going to get in trouble, but he's doing some great things with his foundation. I want to learn more about him, so I want to welcome to the program former NFL star Rahim Abdullah. Rahim, thanks for calling.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm sure when you were with the Cleveland Browns, that rivalry with the Steelers was unbelievable, wasn't it?
Yes, it was great. We loved it. We wanted to win every time we played them. Unfortunately, we didn't. But I know the Steelers fans love that.
Yeah, the Steelers fans do love that. I think since the days when they moved to Baltimore, Cleveland's just not been able to do it. It seems like the Cleveland jinx of the Indians or whatever in Cleveland and the Cavs. I feel bad for Cleveland a little bit, but not too much. But Rahim, tell us specifically how you got involved in football. You're a pretty big guy, as I was checking more of your bio out and stuff like that. So pretty much you were a natural for football from the beginning of your life based on your size?
Well, no, actually, I gained a lot of weight. My mother took me out to play football when I was 6 years old, and I remember me and her working on our moves in the front yard, and she was always telling me that I was engaged too long on the guy. I got to beat him quick, so that's what my thing. I just worked on trying to get off my guy quick and get into the ball as fast as I could. But when I graduated high school, going into college, I was 6'6", 165 pounds. So, I was extremely skinny.
But you had that height, and that's key, right? Especially for...
Yeah, I had that height. You can't teach height.
Well, I know that being 6'10", Rahim, yeah, you definitely can't teach height in certain ways. I wish I had long arms that I probably would have had an NBA career instead of a professional wrestling career. But basically, Rahim, when you were playing football, you were tall. Were you highly recruited out of high school for college football?
Yes, I was. And I wasn't I came out in the age before all these camps and Twitter and Facebook. But what happened with me was weird is because my coaches didn't send any film out on me. So what happened to me, I got lucky. I guess God blessed me. A coach went to see another kid play. And when he was watching him play, he saw me. And in that game, I had 6 sacks and 22 tackles. And the guy asked one of the coaches, who is number 5? And the coach who I was playing against was shocked that he didn't know who I was. And so he told him where I was at. And then it was weird because the guy came to the school, and my coaches at the school told him that I was not interested, which that was not the case. And the guy, he basically stalked me. I was going across the street from my school was the Boys and Girls Club, and I was walking across the street to the Boys and Girls Club, and the guy was just sitting there waiting for me.
Wow, sitting there waiting for you. That you're right. That is God's providence in so many ways because of what you've been able to do today and how you've utilized your career. So basically, you were telling us you didn't have the frame for this, so once they discovered you, then they want to go watch you play once they saw your size? Is that pretty much what happened?
Yeah, well, it was my size and my speed. I played nose guard in high school at 6'6", 165 pounds, which is weird.
Right.
But I had, like I told you, my mother and I worked on my, basically I had a swim move. We worked on that ever since I was 6 years old all the way up till I was 18 years old. And we worked on that every day in the front yard, and then I just had it down pat. And so I had 40 sacks my senior year in high school and went off to go to the great University of Clemson.
And was that a school that you wanted to go to all the time, or is that something like did you follow Clemson when you were a kid or anything?
No, it's weird. I never even heard of Clemson. I was a Florida Gator. I'm from Jacksonville Beach, Florida, so I was a Florida Gator my whole life. And that's the only school I ever wanted to go to when I thought about going to college was Florida or the University of Miami. I hate Florida State. Never liked those guys. But the recruiting coordinator at Clemson at the time when I was there, Rick Stockstill, he's the head coach of Middle Tennessee State now. He he recruited me. Did such a great job. It was like no other choice for me to go to any other school but Clemson.
Wow. So excitement. You go to Clemson. They first tell you got to put some weight on, I'm sure, right? You hit the weight room as quickly as possible. So what did you do? So did you put on a lot of muscle, would you say, or was it a mixture? Once you said, I got to put some weight on for sure to be able to compete in the major Division I at that weight.
I put on the weight and the muscle, because when I started putting on the muscle, the weight came along with it. And it is weird. I went from 165 my freshman year in the fall. In the spring, I was like 225, 230.
Okay. And it just kept going, right? Especially for your position, especially in the NFL and stuff. How was your career in Clemson? Did you have a really good career in Clemson?
Oh, I had a great year at Clemson. I had a great career at Clemson. I left out early as a junior. I had a great career. I made some great friends as far as players and coaches. I had some great coaches. I had a great career. I had some huge games against Florida State, against Duke, Auburn, and NC State. It seems like they were my favorite team to play against.
Cool.
But yeah, I had some huge games in college.
So, and basically coming out, you were definitely highly wanted in the NFL based on what you were able to do. And was size anything? Because again, you were telling me your weight. Still, some nose guards are even heavier than that, right? Than what you were.
Well, my thing about when I came out, they considered me as a tweener. I was tall enough to play D-line, but not heavy enough. And I was too tall for linebacker, but not fast enough.
Right.
So I was in that twin, and I wasn't heavy. I was like, the linebackers, they wanted you to be like 245, 250. I was like 230, 235. D lineman, I was tall enough to play D lineman, but I definitely wasn't heavy enough. They wanted you to be at 270, 275.
So basically,
I was a tweener.
So a tweener. So what position did you play? What you got drafted, and the draft people were saying once you got drafted, this is the position you're going to play, or they had no idea. They just saw raw talent. Then, right? Sounds like.
Right, and when I got drafted, I played linebacker.
So you jumped from D-line in college to linebacker. That's pretty wild.
No, I played linebacker in college too.
You played linebacker in college too. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So you get to the NFL. How different is the game than the NCAA? It's probably night and day, isn't it? Unbelievable, the talent.
Well, and the speed of the game will be the biggest significant. The speed of the game will be the biggest thing. The talent-wise, college players are extremely talented. And it's probably the talent-wise is the same. Is this the football IQ in the NFL, or is this off the charts as compared to the college?
So explain us football IQ. I mean, we understand there's huge playbooks, but it's much more. You guys are in meetings all day long compared to college. We're in school. Explain their football IQ. Are there so many students of the game that make them successful and stay in the league?
Exactly. So you can be extremely book smart and football dumb, and you can have a huge football IQ and be book dumb.
Okay.
And I don't know what you said. And your football IQ is you know the X and O's. You study the film. You know exactly what is going to happen, where you're supposed to be at, without thinking. You remove the thinking aspect of being a football player. It's more reaction. When your football IQ is high, it's more reaction than it is thinking.
Okay.
And a lot of guys come in as a rookie. Their football IQ is so low that there's a lot of thinking going on. That's why they play it slow. That's why they play slow.
So you have to be pretty much a natural on the field. Know exactly where the ball is going to be and not think, but just react. So.
Yeah, that helps out a lot. Then your athletic ability comes into play. But it's more the NFL is a more mental game. Not even as far as the football, as far as getting yourself ready to play the game, as far as doing what you have to do to play the game, getting ready to play the opponent, studying your opponent, all that part of it is your football IQ. Knowing your job, knowing what your opponent's going to do, knowing what this down and this situation is, what they're going to play, or not what they're going to do, but what they have done in the past, the tendencies.
Wow. And that was what happened. So you had 2 years in the NFL. What do you think changed that you ended up, your career was short in the NFL and had to go to the CFL? What would you say? Injuries was the big thing, or specifically wrong?
No,
wrong
you know
time?
what?
Mm-hmm.
No, it was the fact that I couldn't, and I can answer this question now because I'm 37 years old and looking back at a 23-year-old guy. I couldn't handle my business part of the NFL. I couldn't do what I was supposed to do off the field and translate it into on the field. And I just wasn't mature enough to handle that responsibility that when it came to me.
Give us an example of that.
Well, say we have practice in the morning, and I would go out and party the night before, all night long, come in, dragging, but falling asleep in the meetings.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and football is all about politics, and it's a game. You got to know how to play the game, get what you want. You know, you got to know how to rub elbows with the right people, and it's not really all about your athletic ability. It's about, can you do all the right things and say the right things and not rub somebody the wrong way and go out there and play football at the same time.
Well, Rahim, I really commend you for bringing that up and your maturity. I could go back in my career as a professional wrestler and say the reason I didn't go to the next level, which is a contract with the WWE and be a star, was my ego, my fact that I was not willing to learn from other people and wasn't able to play politics. So it sounds like in any industry involving entertainment, you have to do that. Because it's not just it's not just the package of your athletic ability. If you're not coachable, if you don't get along with others, if you don't play the game in the correct way, you're pretty much messed over. Forget about it.
Exactly.
You're never gonna have that opportunity. So I commend you for bringing that up, Rahim. And it's a very challenging thing to say, and maturity wise, that you were able to do that. So in the CFL, would you say it was different, or specifically they weren't used to the kind of talent like yourself going to the CFL compared to the NFL? That the talent was
no. You know what? A lot of people have this misconception of the CFL, and I did that too. I did. I thought I didn't know anything about it. I can remember when I was going to the CFL, my wife, who was my fiancée at the time, and she's Canadian, which is weird, she was crying because she was like, yeah, you know, I don't want you to go over there. And I didn't know anything about the CFL. I'm like, I don't want to go over here and play in the CFL. Never heard anything about it. All I knew was Warren Moon and Doug Flutie. And I was like, well, you know, it's going to be an easy breeze for me. The first time I went out to a CFL game, the first game I played in, I almost coughed up a lung. Because that game, and believe it or not, is faster than the NFL game.
Really?
Everything about this. The field is longer, the clock is faster, the in-between, the play clock is faster. You get it, I can't even remember. I think we got 20 seconds in Canada, as opposed to the 40 seconds it is in the NFL. And I could be wrong with that. But I know it's 20-second clock in Canada. The guys get a running start in Canada. The wide receivers get a running start in Canada. They don't get that in the NFL. You know, and the field is longer and wider. And it's only 3 down, so you know it's a passing league.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that surprised you a lot. So when we get back, I want to talk more with Rahim Abdullah, specifically how your CFL career went, basically life after football, and then to your foundation. A lot of interesting conversation, Rahim, and I want to help promote your charity and foundation and come back in a couple months to talk about the newest programs that are going on, and how we can help together promote your foundation. You're listening to Total Education Celebrity Show on the Total Education Network, and we'll be back in just a moment. We're back to Total Education Celebrity Show on the Total Education Network, TotalTutor.net for more information, Twitter, Total Tutor Neil S. Haley, Facebook, and I'm with Rahim Abdullah, former Cleveland Brown and CFL star. And by the way, Rahim, when I was a kid, I was a huge fan of the Canadian Football League. So I loved the mascots and the names of them, the Argonauts, which they changed their name, and the British Columbia Lions, and I guess in the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The Blue Bombers. I remember all that. So who did you play for in the CFL?
I played for Edmonton Eskimos. That's where we won the Grey Cup, which will be equivalent to the Super Bowl in America. And I played for the Calgary Stampeders.
I did not like the Eskimos. I always wanted British Columbia to win, or Toronto. But so that must have been an honor, because I mean the history of the Edmonton Eskimos is like the Green Bay Packers in the NFL, isn't it?
Exactly. Matter of fact, that's where the Green Bay Packers get their colors from.
Really?
The NFL is older than the NFL. Yep.
Wow. I mean, wasn't the atmosphere unbelievable at an Eskimos game?
Oh yeah, it was amazing. It was something I was not expecting when I went up to Canada. You know, I had been to Canada before. When I was at Cleveland, I went up to Toronto a couple of times. So I wasn't a total stranger to Canada. And my wife, like I said, my wife is Canadian. And I met her in Atlanta. But it was my Canadian experience. It made me regain the love for football that I had lost in the NFL.
That's fantastic, yeah. And so did you have a pretty good career in the CFL yourself?
Yeah, I had a pretty good career. Every year I was one of the top pass rushers, sack leaders in the CFL. I was always on a winning team except for my last year. I made some great friends, great buddies, lifelong friends. And not only that, I was able to be a significant role in some young guys' life going into the NFL, making decisions. Rashad Genty is one guy who I played with, was a good friend of mine, who ended up leaving the CFL and going and playing 6 or 7 years in the NFL.
Wow. So you became a mentor to other people. And I guess that's what led to life after football then, Rahim. When you retired, you said to yourself, I want to help others in training and decision-making that I didn't make the right decisions when I was at my peak. So you decided...
And you hit the nail on the head. That is exactly right.
And so you started your company. Tell us a little bit about the company and why you decided to become an entrepreneur afterwards. I don't know how much money you make in the CFL, and it's none of my business compared to the NFL, but did you go ahead and after you retired from CFL and say, I'm going to go ahead and become an entrepreneur and help others, training, different things, because you have lots of connections. You seem like a great guy, Rahim, and I guess you connected with lots of people in the NFL and CFL. So tell us about the sports performance company you have.
Well, my sports performance company's name is Faster, Smarter, Stronger, or FS2 Performance Training. And I started that really, I started it to be able to make sure guys did not make the same mistakes that I made when I was coming out and the guys before me made. And, also I wanted to make money and for my business. But it's another way, and my wife tells me this all the time, and people who are in the gym tell me this. It's another way for me to stay young and be connected to the game. When guys leave the NFL or NBA or the Major League, of course they miss playing the game. Who wouldn't? But what you really miss is the locker room atmosphere that comes along with playing with the game, the camaraderie of the guys. And that's what I have now with my company, my partner and I, Anthony Glaude. We have a locker room atmosphere. All the kids are younger than us, and I call them kids because that's what they are, kids. And they're all younger than me, and they keep me young.
That's great.
For example, I was taking the guys out to a movie, and I don't buy new clothes anymore. Everything I wear is either going to be it's my company logo, FS2, or it's going to be Clemson. And so all the clothes that I have that go out to look nice with, they're all 15 years old. So they're out of style, out of fashion. So I thought I was looking pretty good, but these young 21, 22-year-old guys were telling me that everything I wear, no one ever wears that anymore. So I had to go out and buy me a whole new wardrobe of clothes so I can fit in with the rest of the guys.
So it kept you young in those specific ways. And so for the sports performance company, so do you train some of the athletes that are in the NFL now, or are you involved in that process?
Yeah, I have right now. I have about 10 guys that's in the NFL now. That's playing. I have about 2 guys in the CFL, and we got a bunch of high school, college kids that we train.
It's tremendous, and it's just something that you keep going. And would you say that you were a pretty good training in the gym and stuff like that to want to do this? To say I'm a gym rat in a way, and like the whole process of preparing for the game with endurance and training, that's a key thing for you as well?
Yeah, and I focus on really the football IQ and athletic metamorphosis. That's what we really focus on. We want to transform a kid from one of the kids we have now. He is 5'4", 145 pounds, and they got him playing offensive lineman, which that's crazy to me, but that's where his school has him at. When I first got him, now he's still 5'4". He's not going to change that. But he's about 170 pounds. He has strength now, which he didn't have before. He has his footwork is he is our most improved player right now, and that's what we want to do. We want to change them from what they are when they come in, and we want to transform them into something that the coach cannot not put on the field.
And that's great. So as we're learning more about Rahim and what he's gone through, and I believe in anyone's life, we go through these trials and we make mistakes, but then we want to help others and give back in ways. And through his company, he's able to do that by teaching them the sports IQ. I'm sure you're giving advice when you create and connect with these guys, saying, hey, don't make the same mistakes going out partying all night or do certain things I did when I was in the NFL. When you have your shot, don't mess it up. And giving him advice as well. And that's what Rahim has been able to do. But to kind of connect that with the success of his sports performance company and being able to be a former NFL and CFL superstar, you decided to start a foundation. So tell us about that.
So the name of the foundation is the Jana Foundation. I formed it when I came into the NFL. Actually, I formed it 1 year after I got into the NFL in 2000, my mother and I. And basically what we do is we try to go into neighborhoods and fix it up, give kids somewhere to go after school. I try to focus on sports because that's what I know, and I also know, and statistics show that if a kid is doing something after school, and I think the hours are from 5 to 9, that's when most kids get in trouble. If they have something to do that keeps them out of that trouble, I try to be a role model to kids. I got women who try to be role models to young girls. I got guys who try to be role models to young kids. Young guys. We go in and we try to start with the whole family. We do as far as their nutrition part, as far as their education part, and as far as their athletics. I don't like going in and try to tell a kid he shouldn't eat this, that, and the third without having his parents there, because everyone knows kids do not buy the food. All they do is consume the food. The parents buy the food. So we try to educate the parents as well as the children.
Wow.
We just try to teach kids to be responsible of their actions.
And
some kids can make mistakes and some kids can't.
Right. And what you're looking at specifically doing is again, so they make the right decisions, be a role model to them, and let your people that are involved in the foundation organization. So is that based where you're from, the foundation, the Jana Foundation? The
Jana Foundation was started in Jacksonville, Florida. That's why I'm from Jacksonville Beach, Florida. And but now we run it out of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, and out of Atlanta, Georgia.
So Atlanta as well, and definitely places that definitely need the help. Do you have a team around you to help run the foundation, especially when you're busy with your business and all those other adventures you still do?
Yes, my mother is the main person who runs it, along with my sister and my wife. But they do a great job, and they have us every time we have an event. A football camp or just a seminar, a mentorship. We are all on hand. Everyone who I deal with and everyone who I've done business with in the past, as far as the guys who I train in NFL, I get those guys to come out. I get those guys to call guys before the games, call them during the week, ask them how their homework is going, which is huge, too. A lot of people don't understand how big that is. You know, I've never spoken to an NFL player. I've never seen an NFL game until my first game I played in. So for a kid who's in the sixth grade to have a conversation with an NFL player and have that on a regular and to know an NFL player, that is huge.
I agree. And it's something that they are just blown away. When any NFL player comes, regardless if it's retired or one that plays now, kids are blown away. So tell us some of the fundraisers you do to raise funds for the Jana Foundation.
Really, it's been really kind of hard. We've been doing mostly football camps. We do some drives. We go out and we try to collect donations. And that's the majority of the way we get the money. A lot of the money comes out of my own pocket and a lot of my partner's pocket. And that's we haven't got any. We haven't got any government support since we've been open. It's really been out of our pocket and the money that we can raise just doing donations, car washes, stuff like that. Or coming out of our own pockets.
Well, I hope my listeners out there can support your foundation, but also I have specific working with organizations that do revenue partnerships with. So we have to get offline. Maybe I talk to your publicist at first or agent and try to get something going to help raise money for the Jana Foundation, because you're doing some fantastic things in two cities, and you need to have more funds to help do more programs and extend it to more places. So we definitely, the Total Education Network values foundations and really is looking to try to do certain things to help them. So we'll definitely have a conversation offline on that. Rahim, where can we find information on you, learn more about you, and also your foundation?
Well, you can go to www.imstronger, is this imstronger.com, and or you can go to janafoundation.com. And Jana is spelled Jannah.
Okay, fantastic. I really enjoyed our conversation. It was a lot of fun. Stay off air so I can make sure that we stay in touch and have you back to find out some of the other stuff. Looks like there's a lot of storylines with you, Rahim, and where you're going and your business and also your foundation. So thanks again for calling.
Thank you.
All right, you're listening to Total Education Celebrity Show on the Total Education Network, and we'll be back in just a moment.